So it's funny how I start every video with so, so, so. Sorry. So the integration of self-realization, how it shows up for me personally, the no self. Uh, it shows up as a having no landing place. It's it's perfection itself. It's no landing place, no grasping, no grabbing at any identity. Um, Not even that of no self. That's why I always say these are modes of experience. The personal mode is a beautiful thing. It's a wow, experiencing being someone. It's a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the access to a little bit more than that. That is the deliciousness of self-realization in my experience, is the access to presence, being, without attachment, without grasping and grabbing at that. Because as soon as there is a grasping and grabbing at that, there is a me trying to be non-dual, and that doesn't work. It's to flow from all of it. There is nothing wrong with the person. There's nothing wrong with the character. There's nothing wrong with the play. There's nothing wrong with being and experiencing being someone. That's why I speak about fluidity. It's not fixed. It's not solid. It's not identified. If there is friendship, personal relationship, it's beautiful. If there is oneness, it's beautiful. It's having access to all of it without identifying with none of it. At some point, the idea that we have to process stuff is dropped as well. But until it is dropped, it is a necessary place. It has its place too. It's in the non-resistance that the lightness and the playfulness is there. It's on the surface. It's okay to be irritated, to be angry, and even when I say that, I can honestly say that there is no more anger here. But my character was angry for a very, very long time. And I'm discovering that it probably was because there was so much hurt beneath that anger. That anger was feeling more empowering so that I wouldn't feel hurt. I wouldn't feel I am weak. I wouldn't feel the depth of the sadness that was underneath. But truly, when all feeling is allowed without resistance, that's when everything collapses, that there is no search to avoid anything. There is no search. There is no more seeking energy to change or avoid anything. The freedom is there. And it's the last thing we want to do as a person. So the grace of presence is the support. It's the ground of neutrality. But it really, in my experience, it really all goes there to non-seeking, to the felt sense of just being, which is it's not a flat, it's not flat, it's neutral, but it's not flat. There's an aliveness, or the first vibration is light. And the pull to adopt thought is dissolved. There is no more, it's like the the, the concept or the movie making mechanism cannot be engaged anymore. And when it is, it's slightly disturbing, and it's like, oops, right away there's just, oh, no need to go there. Triggers are not triggering anymore. There is no more trigger. And I'd love for that to be out there as a possibility, because I see a lot of discourse about bypassing, but at some point there really is a place of no bypassing. There really is. There really is a place of no landing place, no landing in anything. And it's available. Maybe there are a few steps on the way to feel into everything. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. In my experience, there was no search for non-duality. There was no knowing of non-duality when the illusion broke down. And I clearly remember that anger has started to dissolve many years prior, and there was more and more access to hurt, distress, profound loneliness, and powerlessness. And when the self-realization occurred, all of that was already surfacing for a good bit. So non-duality was not an avoidance. In my experience, it was a sport to process, to feel. It was not a self-soothing place to be. It was the only thing that was happening, was that all the suffering was just on the surface, and all I could do was stay as awareness, allowing it. There was no more resistance. The mechanism of resistance had collapsed, and that's probably why it was quick that this all the suffering was just consciously met. But I've been suffering for a very, 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 very long time. I was constantly worrying, constantly suffering. There was no respite, no meditation practice, no mindfulness practice, nothing. It just came out of nowhere. Well, I say that, and at the same time, I can see many, many years of emotional surfacing. It's the non-resistance. It's grasping as oneness. Grasping at oneness is seeking, is preventing it, is the leaving of it. It's the non-grasping at any kind of identification with self or no self. They're just mode of experience. They're always available. But I suppose as long as thought are believed and adopted, the seeking of no thought is present. And maybe a good road to go to break this patron is to feel the feeling, to feel what's the seeking about? What does it need? What is it looking for? Is it looking to be understood, to be loved, to be held? What does it need? And to meet these energy that are screaming to be heard in presence, so that the dual melts in the non-dual. And that then after the person is allowed to be a person, is allowed to self-express its full individual expression without shame. So it's the no self that then bloom into the self-expression through the color of the personality of the person. Each of us is the color of the infinite self. Okay, I thought I'd bring this in the conversation so that maybe some of you recognize where this rings true. And if it doesn't, it's fine. Don't worry. Or if you do, sit with it and ask it, what does it need? What does it looking for? One of the stepping stone here was to realize there is no one that will save me. No one will come and save me. And my true nature, it's like I was able to see that the only thing that can save me, which is the mind, is knowing of our true nature that enables being firm and have boundary, not with people, with thoughts. People are appearing as thought in my experience. The thought of this person, the thought of that person. So the assertiveness came through with, okay, it's enough. Enough of that suffering, enough of that adopting those thoughts, enough of believing this and that. There was a lot of welcoming, but also assertiveness and boundary was put to the mental realm. Because I can clearly see when I start to engage in the mental realm, and I can truly, honestly say there is not many trigger. I don't have many trigger. But when I do, when they come, I can clearly see it's kind of so blatantly obvious that I can just, oh, okay, no, I don't wish to experience that. I don't wish to create that turmoil. I don't need to. And I can feel into myself if there's something. It's a in authentic self-honesty as well. It's a taking charge of our own suffering. It's self-created. And modality of self-inquiry are really precious tool when needed. And at some point, it's okay to let them go as well and use them when they're needed. It's what I mean. It's not a. It becomes like a not a project. It's not a project of having to resolve myself. It becomes just a way of being, and the tool is available if something comes up, and if there is a an intention or a desire to reveal what's underneath, if a trigger still arises. All right. I just felt like posting this freedom that is available to any of us. It's your birthright. Okay. Bye bye.